but the new display looks awesome. It has great contrast and solid viewing angles, but the real draw is that crispy resolution. Coming in at 4096 by 2304, it's actually higher resolution than standard 4K video. On a 21-inch screen, this comes out to an impressive 218 pixels per inch, which is just as sharp as Retina MacBook screens. OS X does a great job of scaling to give you what looks like a 1080p screen, but with 4 actual pixels making up each pixel of screen real estate. You can also use this to scale your resolution up to 1440p if you like. This display would cost a fortune on its own, which makes this iMac actually reasonably priced for a change. Inside, we're looking at a quad-core Broadwell Core i5 that's clocked at 3.1 GHz, Iris Pro graphics 6200, and 8 GB of memory. While dedicated graphics might not be ideal on a 4K desktop, Intel's Iris Pro 6200 graphics are surprisingly up to the task. For normal use in El Capitan, things are nice and smooth even while multitasking, and you can even do a bit of gaming. If you install a copy of Windows via Boot Camp, you'll find that Grand Theft Auto 5 is playable on normal settings at 1080p, and lighter titles like Rocket League will also work at 1080p on medium. It's absolutely not a gaming PC, but if you want to play a few games, the 4K iMac handles itself pretty well. Unfortunately, there's a weak link, and that's the storage. The base model comes with a seriously slow 1TB 5400 RPM hard drive. This is just not acceptable on a high-end computer in 2015. Normal tasks that are nearly instant on an SSD-equipped computer are a test of your patience on the iMac, and while you can upgrade to a Fusion drive or a pure SSD, that's going to jump up the price significantly. There's no easy way of upgrading the storage yourself, and the RAM is soldered down, so if you want to upgrade, you better do it before buying. The 4K iMac fits an awesome display and an impressively designed all-in-one. For some, the screen alone will be worth the price, but once you upgrade the base hard drive, spending a little more to upgrade to the 27-inch iMac is probably worth it. So what do you guys think about the 4K iMac? Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next one.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Carl here, back with another video. So you're in the market for a brand new iMac. You know that the 4K panels just came out for the 21.5-inch models. I just did an unboxing. I will leave a link down below in the description box. But my day-to-day computer has been the 27-inch 5K iMac that I've had for almost a year now. In this video, I will be comparing them, testing out the different specs, a few benchmarks, and seeing which device is right for your 4K or 5K goodness. Okay, first and foremost, let's get some of the specs out of the way. We have the 21.5-inch Retina 4K, retails for $1,500, and on the right-hand side, we have the 27-inch models. Those are all now 5K panels. You range from $1,800 all the way up to $2,300 for the highest spec model. On the smaller side of things, we start off with a 3.1 GHz quad-core i5. 8 gigs of RAM is standard. I would upgrade to 16 gigs because on the 4K 21.5-inch model, RAM is no longer upgradable. Keep that in mind when you're doing this. And here is where I am so lost with Apple on this one. A 5400 RPM 1TB hard drive. What on earth are you thinking? It just blows my mind that they can actually have the audacity to charge this amount of money and still have an archaic hard drive. If you're even considering buying the 4K iMac, upgrade the storage and just shake your head at Apple as they take your money, as they always seem to do. Moving on over to the 27-inch 5K iMac, you can upgrade that to an i7. Of course, that does cost more money. I chose to go with 16 gigs of RAM, but the nice thing is you can always upgrade the 27-inch models later on. I plan to upgrade mine to 32 when it starts to slow down. I do have a 3TB Fusion drive. I've had no issues, and the 5Ks do have a dedicated GPU. I chose to upgrade mine to 4 gigs just because I knew I would be working with 4K content, and if you plan on doing that, I think this is a vital upgrade also. When you take your first look at either of these displays/models, they are one word simply put, gorgeous. Apple knows how to design their products. We have the 21.5-inch, which is 4096 by 2304. The 5K panel, a crazy 5120 by 2880. That is a lot of pixels. I've always been a bigger fan of larger displays. That's why I went with the 27-inch model, and it was the only one available in 5K or super high def last year, and I've absolutely loved my time with it. The one thing to consider, of course, is budget, and I think that's the biggest difference between both of these devices and will be on your mind while you're purchasing them. 21.5-inch retails for $1,500 for the base, $2,300 for the 27-inch. For the smaller iMac, I just went for the base, as I said, 3.1 GHz i5, 8 gigs of RAM, and the Intel Iris Pro graphics. On my 5K, I almost maxed it out, 16 gigs of RAM, 4 gigs dedicated graphics, and I plan to upgrade my RAM maybe sometime next year. Just some standard Geekbench 3 scores for all of you interested. On the 4K side, 3404 for the single core, 11472 for the multi-core score. On the 5K, we have 3729 single core and 14,537 for the multi-core score. I did some very basic testing across both models. For example, I'm importing 4K video footage shot on my GH4 straight into my 5K. I've got a stopwatch, and to import around 20 gigs of footage took around 3 minutes and 50 seconds on the 5K. On the 4K side of things, importing those same files from the same SD card. I'm sure a lot of you are looking to buy either one of these devices. I'm assuming for 4K video editing, it does really help with that resolution on the screen. This took around 4 minutes and 5 seconds, so slightly slower. And I found that using the 4K doing daily tasks, it wasn't as snappy as I would have liked, especially right out of the box. And I'm sure as time goes on, you'll fill your hard drive up with who knows what, and I'm sure performance will dip and you won't be able to upgrade the RAM. You could use an external SSD, but once again, I think Apple's decision to use a 5400 RPM standard hard drive is such a big mistake. There are going to be a lot of people down below in the comments trolling that this thing has the specs of a 1990, or not exactly, but an older computer, and the fact that Apple can charge $1,500 is very outrageous, and I do agree with them on this end. You are getting an awesome screen, it does look so gorgeous, but if you don't have the performance to use it, there is no point. Right now we're doing a standard boot up test, and this is where the Fusion drive on the 5K really shines. Fusion drive, for those of you that don't know, is a bit of a hybrid, has some SSD, has some normal hard drive storage space, and you can see that the 5K boots up way quicker, whereas on the 4K,